start right here on there. What's that? My boy Asher's online. Boy, Asher don't waste no time. She feel like my stuff ain't in the right place though. Hold on. Like, kind of like it better right there. Yeah, I like it right here. What's good, Asher? Is Bleach evil? No, but it did have angels of death called gods of death. That's what the word Shinigami means. So if you're offended by fake gods, you might be offended by it. It's a pretty good point, Asher. It's a pretty good point. I got 3 friends already live. I know TWK is live right now. I had to get him for talking smack about a Luffy, so I had to get on him for that one. Nah, man, but yo, no, you're making a good point. But it's really Dwayne when it comes to Bleach talking about how they have Shinigami, Soul Reapers, gods of death, this type of stuff, death angels. It's a play on words. That's really the biggest thing about Bleach having that tag is it's really just a big old play on words. So it's not to say that Bleach is completely evil for having the terminology there. It's not saying that they're trying to say that Soul Reapers are gods. It's just a play on words. That's all it is. What's up, Coop? We got Dwayne and we got Coop in the house. What up, y'all? So good to see you. Feels good to be on TikTok Live. It feels good to be on YouTube Live. I see I got 3 people here on YouTube, so that's a blessing in and of itself. Welcome here to Christ and Comics. You are welcome here on this channel. Yes, sir. I know my boy already hitting up that like button. Oh, I got some other people joining in the chat too. Word. Welcome, welcome. Let's go. We're going to talk about Bleach today. Hold on, let me get the book. Let me get my manga. I got my Bible. You know I was quick. Gotta bring Bleach on here too, though. Y'all know I had to come with it. Had to come with it. Oh man. All right. We'll get started once we'll get this officially started once we're at 1,000 likes, guys. Y'all know how I do. We gotta get them likes up and then we get this party started. So let's get the likes up and then we're gonna talk about is Bleach okay for Christians? Is Bleach an okay anime for Christians? Let's talk about it. Let's go. Now, one thing, while we're getting them likes up, people, let's get them likes up. While we're working on getting the likes boosted here, I just wanted to kind of express, one, I'm very, very thankful for each and every one of you guys joining me here on TikTok. I thank you, each and every one of you, for joining me here on YouTube. The love is truly a blessing. The attention, it means the world to me. So I definitely want to kind of express my gratitude to y'all for that. So thank y'all so very much. Something else that's been going on as well. Y'all didn't know this, but I actually do have an account with Fiverr where if you are doing church or you have a business and you need cards designed, you need postcards made, you need flyers made, stuff like that, I'm willing to make those things for you. And I got my first request on Fiverr. And so it's truly amazing. I'm excited to see that I was able to put some work together and make some designs that the people would like. I thought that was amazing. That meant the world to me to be able to do that, to be a part of that. So I definitely want to be able to share that with y'all. So, this is amazing. It's amazing to be able to be a creative and designer. It's amazing to be making these Christian anime journals, as they're about to go live as well. I'm officially going to post it either Tuesday or Wednesday. Just so you know, the Amazon KDP says that when you do officially post something to go live to sell on Amazon, it takes about 72 hours before it's officially available for purchase. So that's something you need to know. So that means it probably won't be available till Thursday or Friday of next week. I can't wait till the copies come in. When the copies come in, I'll definitely be showing you guys. I'm telling you, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be freaking amazing. Like, I am overly ecstatic for what's coming, y'all. I'm overly ecstatic for what's coming. I wish I knew what that ding meant. Oh, does that mean DHK's around here? What's my main man doing through here? What's good? What's good, Diaries of Holy Night? Bald News. I don't know if you heard my hello, but I just wanted to say hello. Dwayne, you said and this anime could be pretty bloody at times. Yeah. Um, man, I can't wait to open up that can of worms, Dwayne. We'll talk about the blood in anime. We'll talk about the blood in Bleach. Um, and I'll get y'all's opinion on that. I mean, yeah, I mean, even right out of the first 3 volumes, where did that dog come from? Did a dog bust up in my house? Woo! I remember this. I shouldn't be flipping through here. But I remember when not Ichigo, Orihime's brother, was fighting with her. Man, that was a very bad moment. That was kind of hardcore. That was kind of hardcore for real. He bit her on the chest. He ran his hand through her chest, and it was just like, God, man, it's violent, dark. I think that's one thing I did like about Bleach was Bleach kind of brought a little darkness, and it wasn't like evil dark. It was just like, oh snap, like I'm invested. So yeah, Ichigo, yeah, Orihime's brother, he did that to her, man. It was dark, man. It was pretty dark. Bleach can be pretty dark at times. It can be pretty dark. I got to get the other volumes though. This one's only 1 through 3. Let y'all see. That's only 1 through 3. So I'm really not that like caught up physically. I'm not caught up physically. I actually own the series. Sorry, I don't own the whole series. I only own 1 through 3, but I've read the entirety of it from beginning all the way through to the Thousand Year Blood War arc. I was already caught myself up before the anime release because I was like, that was a manga I never finished, and I love the crap out of Bleach. Let me finish this thing. So I finally finished the whole thing, and I was just like, yay, it was great. It was great. It was even we're gonna talk about some Bleach secrets too. We're gonna talk about some Bleach secrets y'all might not know about. Yeah, we're gonna talk about some Bleach secrets today as well. And it's probably not secret anymore. It's been 10 years. Almost everybody who's seen Bleach or likes Bleach should know this. But we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. We're only gonna do 193 likes today. Y'all don't want to do nothing with me. Y'all breaking my heart. Asher asks if I'll ever do videos like this for video games. I will. To be honest, it'll probably be when I'm able to do this full time though. So I'm hoping I can be full time this in a year. But when I can do this full time, because then I can, do the videos like I want, and then I can go to the next level and start doing streaming and doing like video game gameplay and recording that, stuff like that. And the more I get back involved in playing video games, then I can talk more about video games. So I hope to one day. Like I want to do the Final Fantasy series. I want to do what was that other series? I want to do Legend of Zelda. I think Legend of Zelda is a great game, arguably for Christians to play, in my opinion. So I want to do a review of Legend of Zelda. I even kind of want to advocate for Street Fighter. Well, probably not. Probably not Street Fighter. Probably not Street Fighter. Probably not Street Fighter. Might be a hard confession to make, but I probably would not advocate for Christians to play any fighting game. Any fighting game. Huh. I hadn't thought of that. I didn't realize I probably wouldn't recommend like fighting games to Christians like that. I'm a lover of fighting games, and when I think about it though, I was like, once I actually sit down here to think it through, I'm just like, wait, well, I don't want to tell Christians to see those half naked girls. I don't want to, encourage that. And then the only other half you have is violence. Is that Quez I see in the chat? Don't play with me. Is that Quez? Quez, you in the house? Talk to me, homie. Talk to me, homie. Quez, are you in the chat, homeboy? Hello, Sean. Hey, we'll get into that in just a minute. We're going to get into that once we get 1,000 likes. Okay, Tristan? Help us get to 1,000 likes, and then we'll get the party started. You heard me? Yeah, help me get to 1,000 likes, and we'll get that party started. In the meantime, I'm going to respond to ZBJ, who asked my thoughts on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I think JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is an amazing series. This is going to be a hot take. But I think JoJo's Bizarre Adventure did what Dragon Ball Z wanted to do. That's a hard take, but that's what I think. I think JoJo's Bizarre Adventure did what Dragon Ball Z wish it could have done. Do a story, main character, you love the main character, you're invested in them, main character passes on, and then you're just like, oh no, who's going to take it up now? And then they can trust it to the next generation. We saw that. They wanted to trust the storyline to Gohan. Fans didn't let that happen, so we didn't get it. I mean, but JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, we got generations on generations on generations, and everybody is riding with it. So like that's kind of just my thing. That's my anime hot take of the day, if you ask me. Hey, Quelk, I'm doing good, man. Thank you for asking. It was a blessed day here at church. It's blessed to be here. I did let some people know that a couple of things that have transpired. I built an account on Fiverr. Finally got a first person to do a request for me to do a design for him. I did that. I'm waiting to see how that turns out for the person who did the request. And then I'm working on my Christian anime journals. The theme currently is going to be Dragon Ball with Goku and Vegeta. And those will be posted this week. I cannot wait to post them. We'll do videos on the rough draft of the product. That way you guys can see kind of how they look. So I'm really excited about that as well. I got you guys, linked in, tuned in for this. Tune in to my TikTok. Tune in here on YouTube. I'll be talking about it on both platforms, guys. Because, depending on what happens here on TikTok, I'm going to be over here more, promoting my product. That's kind of how I'm going to have to work. I'll be on YouTube. I'll be on Instagram. And then I'll be on Amazon. You know what I'm saying? Okay, looks like we did it, y'all. We made it up to 1,000 likes. So I am ecstatic. Quez is in his house. It's good, Quez. Let's get Quez. I don't remember every single person's name who comes and joins me on here. However, I want to get a lot better at doing some intros. I like doing some intros. I got one for Coop. I'll be like, Coop. Every time Coop shows up, Coop. Now I'm like, what's up, Quez? And I hold that note, Quez. I like Asher, though. Like, Asher's name is really, really cool. Dwayne Asher. Like, I feel like he's that dude that people are just like, don't talk to that guy. Like, he's dangerous. It's Dwayne Asher. Like, that's Dwayne Asher. He's always been riding with me here on YouTube. So kudos to Asher for being here. W Hunt, I don't know if he's in the chat yet, but W Hunt likes to talk through. W Hunt, he is a living W. I love that man. I respect that brother. Guys, this is just awesome. It's so good to be here with you guys. We're even almost at 2,000 likes. So we're going to get the party started. You guys showed up to talk about Bleach. You guys showed up to find out, is Bleach okay for Christians? We're going to have a discussion. So I want you guys to know, you're more than welcome to ask your questions here in the chat. But I kind of want to get the party started, all right? What is the good news of the gospel, says Richard Lucci. What is the good news of the gospel? I like to try and tie questions back into whatever topic we're focused on, so I'm going to tie this into Bleach. The good news of the gospel is that where all of man is deserving of destruction. And I'm not saying that as a nihilist. I'm not saying that as a person that wishes harm to anyone. I do not wish harm to anyone. I am saying that as a person that realizes the damage of everything and anything that I have done and am capable of doing in this life. And where that is cause for me not to be able to have a relationship with Jesus, to live a life with him, God, Jesus, and the Holy Ghost come together to not only be a part of man in an attempt to, in a success to give man an opportunity to be restored back to him by starting out with Israel. He did so to the extent of making sure that all mankind could be saved and have an opportunity to be saved. So that's the good news part. And here's the most beautiful thing about the gospel having good news, which is something I think is extremely important, is that the good news is being demonstrated in the midst of a lot of pain, strife, betrayal, disobedience, hurt, harm, and danger. All of these things. Look, a lot of times, especially when Christians are teaching young people or people are trying to lead people to Christ, they talk as though the Bible isn't dark. The Bible is extremely dark. The Bible is extremely dark. You think some of your vampire novels and stuff like that is a dark story? No, sir. It don't compare to the trippy stuff you find in the Bible. And I say that because Dwayne had asked a second ago. He had asked about Bleach having bloody scenes throughout it sometimes, and that's technically true. It has a lot of bloody instances. I remember when Ichigo got hurt by the first hollow that he had to fight against before he became a Soul Reaper. He was bleeding all over the place. I mentioned earlier about how Orihime was getting, beat up and bit up by her own brother's hollow form, and then we see a lot more sword fighting, and you see the cuts, and then blood splattering all over the place. And as a Christian who watches anime, you might think that seeing that excessive blood is just like, what, Christians, we probably don't want to be a part of seeing all this bloodshed. We are not people of blood. Man, we operate off blood. Our lives are saved because of blood. Like, so we can't be like, no blood, right? That's one. I mean, two, if you go back and you read about what the process is go back and read Leviticus, like chapter 1-3. Go back and read chapter 1-3 on the preparation that goes into doing the offerings that they make to God for their sins. Now, you heard that, right? Offerings made for sins. You do this, you got to make a sacrifice like this. You do this, you make a sacrifice like this. You do this, you make a sacrifice like this. And that is, you bring a good animal, you chop off its head, you wring out the blood, you cut it open, you're doing all of this to an animal. Like, that's very bloody. Like, I mean, I get you probably guys, well, it's just an animal. Ain't nobody out here doing this to animals like it's just like, yeah, that's normal. No, you're not doing that to eat. You're doing that to say, I'm sorry for sinning against you, because that is a reflection of, in some sense, what you're deserving of for what you did against the person you offended, and that person being God. And so that's the crazy thing that people don't get. Read the Bible and see how grotesque it is. Even when people talk about David, y'all got to remember, David, he wasn't just killing lions and bears. This dude beat Goliath, stone to the head, grabbed his sword. Now, this little dude grabs a giant sword. Not a giant sword, the giant's sword, and cut off his head. That's gangster. I don't care what nobody says. That's gangster. That's gangster. So Mark Patry, what's up? Y'all see he's got an intro, right? I said Mark Patry, I hold that eye. I got some intros for my people up in this chat. You heard me? But yeah, man, I'm telling you, like, it's crazy. It's crazy. No, you didn't miss too much. We're talking about Bleach. And we got on the topic of the bloodshed being too much is, the bloodshed and Bleach too much for a Christian. And I'm pointing out some, biblical illustrations where there's a lot of blood that happens. You know what I'm saying? So even simply by looking at Leviticus 1-3, you see a lot of bloodshed. So if you think the blood in Bleach is bad, I mean, think of the blood that was shed on the cross for all of mankind to have life. That's a lot of blood. That's a lot of blood. For that blood to mean something and cause something and make a difference. So it's truly, yes, exactly. Mr. Comfortable, you're exactly right. We just had someone here on YouTube. He definitely, agrees. Christ's sacrifice in and of itself was a bloody mess. The way that they beat Jesus. Y'all know what a cattail is? Y'all know what a cattail is? Mr. Comfortable, I think you know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what a cattail is? Let me know in the chat. Y'all know what a cattail is. Let's talk about it. Hey, Comfortable knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, he knows what I'm talking about. Y'all know what a cattail is? Yeah, it's really sad, Patrick. You're right. The cattail is a whip, but it's a whip that has several strands. There's several strands, right? And that strands, those strips, what they have on them, they have bone on the edges of them. They have metal hooked to them and all of these different things. So when they would reel back and pop Jesus with it, it would wrap around his body and it wouldn't just pop off and pull out. Like it wouldn't and then pull back out. It was land and clinch and it would hook, right? So it goes wrap around his body and goes, right? Multiple strands of bone and metal. And so when the whip is pulled back, because they got to pull the whip back, this is ripping his body open. It's ripping his body open. So if you want to talk about Bleach having bloodshed, okay, and also let me just point that out too. I'm not coming at Asher. Asher brought up something that a lot of Christians are concerned with. A lot of Christians are concerned with the shows we watch, the movies we watch, the books we read, and all of this, the video games we play, having a lot of bloodshed. If you're worried about that stuff having a lot too much bloodshed for a Christian, then you don't read the Bible. That's just kind of what I'm on. If you're worried about a video game, a TV show, and a movie having a lot of bloodshed, then you really haven't read the Bible. That's like I'm just gonna keep it at 100. And I mean, and it's not like it's fine when it's Jesus. Be for real. No, don't. No, it's not like that. It's still just as real. It's still just as tragic. It's still just as painful. Look, I'm gonna give y'all a good. Hey, wisdom. Let me know where I lost you or confused you. That way I can speak to it. I don't want you to feel as though you're kind of left out. I definitely want to acknowledge whatever it is that you are saying and or asking. Oh, here we go. You said I have a question. I'm a Christian through and through, but how do we know that Jesus is God? How do we know that Jesus is God? There's a lot of evidence to the topic of Jesus being God. That is a very good question. So one of the earliest evidences that Jesus is God is found in the very beginning when he's speaking of making man in their image. So the there is implying that there's more than one entity in the least that is present and whose design that man is fashioned after. And that is not speaking to, and when I say not speaking to, that's speaking to in regards to angels. We're not made in the image of angels. We're made in the image of God. We're made as a reflection of here, or his likeness of him into the world. And so take into consideration that there's more than one being considered in that illustration. That is God, the Father, his Son, Jesus Christ, and then there's the Holy Spirit. Okay. Now, one of the amazing things, which you definitely do want to be careful doing this, but you also need to be mindful. You want to be careful doing this, but you also need to be mindful when things actually correlate or when you're correlating something to justify your claim. Studies have shown and have validated that, and I do apologize if I don't remember the exact verse itself. However, there is an instance when the people were in Egypt, when they were in Egypt, right? And God called on Moses when he was in the land of Midian so that he could go deliver the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. What Moses asked God was, he asked him, it was like, well, when I go to deliver your people out of this land, what am I supposed to say so that they know, in whose name that I'm coming, and they're not just thinking I'm just some rando or that, I'm just doing this on my own volition or whatever. How do I get them to basically trust me that I'm doing this, for whomever you are? He tells them, tell them I am that I am has sent me. So when he gets there, right, when Moses gets to Egypt and he's speaking to the Israelites, letting them know what he's here for, they're just like, well, who sent you? Like they actually asked him. He said, I am that I am has sent me. And that for the Israelites was a trigger word. That for them was a realization. It's just, oh, no, that's basically code for the name of God and not. Oh, that's another thing too. So he says, I am that I am. They agree. They understand. They're just like, oh, yep, he's legit, right? They believe Moses is who he says he is, being sent by God to do what he's doing. Not only that, one of the things that is often even a discussion now today. Back then, it wasn't common to just outright call, say he's the I am that I am, to say Yahweh, to say Yahshua. It wasn't frequent that you would just say his name like that. You would be very mindful, cautious, and there's a time and a place, and appropriate. And then when it's appropriate to say the name of God, you wouldn't just saying God like we say Jesus now today, right? So then we shifted that, right? That so they recognize that. So now let's jump time. We're jumping time. We're not simply scripture hopping. Y'all know I hate that. We jump time. We get to them questioning Jesus about who he is. Jesus points out to them that I am. And again, remember, though we're reading it in English in the Bible, the translation translates in two ways, okay? Old Testament is Hebrew mainly, and with some Aramaic. while the New Testament is a bit of Greek and Aramaic. So when we get to the New Testament and Jesus is talking to them and they're asking Jesus who he is, Jesus says, I am the Son of God. You know, I am. When he says that I am statement, he says it in that way where it's just like, oh, and see, here's a backing for that scripturally. Even the Israelites themselves acknowledge themselves as the sons of God. Okay, that was a common statement. Those are common wordings to be used. However, that would not have triggered rage on their part because of how common that was to see yourselves as sons of God, as the children of God, right? Israelites saw themselves as the children of God. And so that's where we see the frustrations on the end of the Pharisees, because he wasn't simply saying, I'm the son of the Lord. He's saying, I am God. So that's where that holds validity. And those who care, Lilo, are the ones that are sticking around to listen. And if you stick around, it might bless you. So you're more than welcome to stick around. I just want you to know. We are going to get back on Bleach, but we are also going to be talking about the Bible and the gospel. So that's the whole point of this conversation. So yeah, absolutely. So in those regards, that's just some examples as to what validates that Jesus is God. Okay, so that's just to give you guys some evidence for that claim. I hope that that did in fact help. I think that was who was talking. Was that Monique? Somebody else asked that question, but yeah. Wisdom, yes. Wisdom, I hope that that helped you. I hope that that helped you very much. I hope that that helped you. The law has not changed, Monique. I'm not sure in what direction or point you're looking to make with that, but no, the law has not changed. It's just been fulfilled. So let's continue with Bleach, right? Okay. The if anything, the covenant has been updated. If anything, the covenant has been updated. We are under the new covenant if we've received Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior. Okay, so there's that. All right, Bleach. Let's talk about Bleach. What is Bleach? What is Bleach? Bleach is a series about a young man by the name of Ichigo Kurosaki. If you're a Christian and you've never heard of the show, that's what it is. You know, for those of you that like Bleach, or those of you that know of Bleach already, just stick around as we go to talk about that. And what evidence do you have to say that I'm wrong? What evidence do you have to say that I am wrong? We can talk about that. And bring your evidence from the New Testament, and we'll talk about it from there. Because if you exclude the New Testament, then we're not talking about the same thing, thus we don't have a conversation. So, all right. But yeah, Bleach is about a young boy by the name of Ichigo Kurosaki living a normal life, kind of like not a school delinquent, but he was doing enough. He's primarily a young man that really cares about his family. And that's the biggest and most important thing to him. One of the things that has affected his life is that, his mother had passed away when he was really young. And because of that passing, that made it evident for him of his ability to see spirits and to see ghosts. When he was younger, he couldn't tell the difference between what was a spirit and what was a actual person. And so that's kind of what he was conflicted about as a young child. But then after losing his mother, he got to this place where he was actually able to tell the difference a bit better. Even more so, that's where we are now in the series as it's starting. Is he's just going around, being nice to ghosts as he sees them, being helpful and caring, protecting their grave sites, for example. That's one of the first things that they demonstrate, is him protecting the gravesite of a young girl that had passed away. But then later in the series, we find that a hollow shows itself. And of course, what hollows do is hollows feed off of the souls or the souls of those that have died and others. There's a lot that goes into that. So, hey, Jarili, what's up? Hold on, guys. I got to pause there for a second. Oh, I was about to get into the meat of it, but we're going to pause there. Jarili, what's up? What's up? You're able to go live now? Are you at 1,000 yet? Y'all, this is my new friend, Jarili. She's here on TikTok. She, as a matter of fact, came across one of her TikToks, and I did a stitch, just kind of had fun with it. And she really enjoyed it. A lot of people kind of enjoyed the video, and I'm hoping to in the future do a video on alt Christians or goth Christians and kind of have a discussion with several different Christians that are in that arena. Definitely love the opportunity to discuss with several of them, and hopefully they'll be blessed. But we're talking about Bleach, and so where Ichigo sees Ghost and he helps Ghost, he eventually, and I'm paraphrasing the story. It's not actually tit for tat. Um, Gotcha, Jarili. Okay, gotcha, gotcha. And I am doing very good, Jay. Thank you very much. But just so you know, Jarili, we're talking about Bleach and seeing if it's okay for Christians. And so, as Ichigo ends up getting attacked by this Hollow, he also ends up meeting a Soul Reaper, and the Soul Reaper ends up, helping him and his family against the Hollow that attacks. But she ends up getting injured trying to defend them, and now Ichigo's in this position where he has to defend his family. So the Soul Reaper, shares her power with him, thus making him what they call a substitute Soul Reaper or substitute Shinigami. Okay, and so he now is the one that protects the town in her place. And a lot of things transpire where they broke some laws, and she is about to the one Rukia who gave him his power, gave him his power, gets arrested. He goes to fight to free her. Then something happens where another friend gets kidnapped, and he goes to fight to free her. And then something else happens where one of his best friends ends up going to side with, technically his lineage and family, the Quincy, who were supposedly wiped out. And he goes to save, not only defeat them, but save him in some sense. So we see this cycle of, saving my friends is what's happening, right? And Ichigo's constantly being put in this position. And it's not necessarily that it's like, oh, I want to be Soul Reaper. I've always wanted to be a Soul Reaper. It's not that kind of story. He's not Luffy wanting to be the Pirate King. He's not Asta trying to be the Wizard King. It's none of that type of thing. It is my people need me, and I'll do whatever it takes to save them, without necessarily crossing my own moral standards. So that's a lot of what we're getting out of Bleach. Now, right out the gate, when we're talking about Bleach, whether or not it's okay for Christians, the first thing people, question or freak out about is there being a spirit realm, right? There being a spirit realm. Like that's one thing that would throw some Christians off, is them thinking, well, there's no such thing as hollows. There's demons. Those are the bad ones. It's demons. And those aren't. So there's no soul reapers or gods of death or anything like that. They're angels, and then there's demons. And we kind of simply speak on that plane of understanding when we're talking about what oppositions and entities exist within the spirit realm. That's kind of where we really just limit ourselves and scratch the surface. And I'm saying this in a broad sense. I'm not saying every single Christian limits their understanding of the spirit realm by those standards. Yeah, they're called Shinigami or death gods or soul reapers. There are several Christians, however, that do believe that there are angels, of death, that there are angels that move bodies from place to place, that there's an angel who, when someone is said that they're going to go and burn in the lake of fire forever, that angel takes them and throws them into the lake. So Shinigami also, in some sense, translates to angel. In some sense, not entirely, just in some sense. But so and I was saying this to Dwayne earlier, it's a very loose term, and it's toggled between based on how it's being used. And so in this case, it's being used in the sense of being a soul reaper or death god. Now, the thing that Type Kubo aimed for by doing that, however, is to tap into the samurai illustration and swordsmanship and incorporating that into their reapers versus simply going with the cloak and the scythe. Hence why we have the uniform that they wear, which is like the kimono like uniform, and them using and training with katana being their scythe, if you will. But it's really just a sword. And so, where I understand Christians' frustrations with that's not what angels look like, that's not what demons look like, this, that, and the third. Oh my goodness, he's half one. That's bad. Christians should stay away from that. Like, there's so much that Christians like lose their minds about that regard. But what we got to also understand is what you're getting into, though I don't fully grasp it, is you're getting into an aspect of Japanese culture and how they, in some ways, depict and or illustrate the spirit realm for them. And for some of them, they believe that family members are still here and the family members are looming around, waiting to move on, and mainly, and I think it's the either the Hindu or the Buddhist uh, translation, they're awaiting an opportunity to move on to the spirit realm to be acknowledged for what good they have done or what bad that they have done, to then be having an opportunity to then be reincarnated into back into life. And so again, another thing Christians would be mad about is, well, we don't believe in reincarnation, so we should stay away from that because we don't want to support reincarnation. I get it. I see where that concern comes from. My brother says it's interesting how the Quincy are represented holy but have very demonic transformations. Um, that depends on what you mean by demonic, right? That depends. Well, what anyone means by demonic, not just you. And you're very welcome here. How do I say your name? Tyler. What's up, Tyler? It's very good to see you. I want to call you Tyler Dude. Can I call you Tyler Dude? I like the name. Tyler Dude. I like that. You're welcome here, Tyler Dude. Thank you for joining us here, and I thank you for your perspective on that. Yeah, and they do come across as very demonic forms. However, let me pitch this at you, right? Okay, so what he's bringing up is when the Quincy, right? They're acknowledged as being holy, right? They kind of give off this saint-like, demeanor, well dressed, and we're better than the rest. At the risk of my TikTok being shut down, they're very, we'll say it like this, Yahtzee-ish, if I do say so on myself. Hey, chili sauce, you're good, my brother. You're good. We just getting the party started, man. We're just getting the party started. We're talking about Quincy's right now. Just so you know, chili sauce. We're talking about Quincy's. Hey, Coop, are you still here? Coop. Coop, can you let me know if you're still here? Coop, let me know if you're still here in the chat. Coop, 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 Coop. I don't see Coop. Okay. All right, I'm not seeing Coop, guys, so we'll keep it going. Okay. All right. So sorry, I got distracted there. Quincy's well dressed, they think themselves, they come off, honestly, they come off kind of Yahtzee-ish, if y'all know what I mean. And so with that illustration, they think they are better than, right? And so my boy Tyler dude, he has just pointed something interesting out, how when they trigger their ability, I don't remember what that German word is. Be were merciful with me, guys, but I know it's just what they use to transform and release their form. It's not Stern Rider, that's the name of the elite group. But it's shoot, what was the name of that word? What's the name of that word? I'm gonna Google it. We're gonna Google it. But that transformation that you're speaking of, Tyler, it is scary in a sense. But if I were to say, if we're being honest with ourselves, it borderlines on what angels themselves. Volstandish. Yes, that one, that form, Volstandish. Right. Yeah, if we're being honest with ourselves, it almost kind of seems more angelic than necessarily demonic. Because if you look up what angels are believed to look like, they almost resemble that look. It's granted it's still creepy, but at the same time, it's kind of what they look like. And so with that being said, it's like it goes back to the Bible itself. When people saw angels, they were scared. They were scared. They were freaking out. I was like, oh, what the heck is that thing? Oh. And what the angels always say in the Bible, what the angels tell everybody, every single time, fear not. Fear not. Fear not. I'm not going. Don't worry, I ain't gonna kill you. Fear not. Right. And so it happened almost every single time the angels would tell people to fear not, but they look so grotesque. I guess we could arguably translate that back over to that with the Quincy's. They have that weird, disturbing looking transformation, but it's not something to fear by transformation. If anything, you should really just fear its power. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind in regards to that. Mexican saying, I was about to say they have wings like angels. Uyu can be seen as half angel because he has one. In some sense, yeah, you're absolutely right, Mario. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Archangel Michael is literally like a soldier. It literally looks like a soldier. I have to double. Respectfully, I'm gonna have to double check that. I don't recall the Bible illustrating Michael looking like that. Hold on, what does Bible say Michael looks like? Let's see if it says anything. Here we go. He's repeatedly depicted as the great captain, the leader of the heavenlies. Okay. Heavenly host and a warrior helping the children of Israel. Early in the history of the Christian church, he came to be regarded as the helper of the church's armies against the heathen. Okay. So he's described as a soldier and a warrior, but what his actual look is, we don't have any biblical illustration for his specific details. He may be recognized as a soldier, but he don't look like a soldier. It's like angels in name means messenger, so they don't look like no messenger. I don't see them wearing no mailman hats or those satchel, and they got their knee knocker shorts on, coming to deliver the word of God. They show up in what they look like. And then I got to be like, oh, they don't. So, okay, Latoya asks, does angels have free will? Angels have free will to the extent of inescapable consequence. They are designed with inescapable consequence. They just can't do as they please in God's presence. God says you ought to do, period. Right? Where for us, there's where God has these dictations and expectations of humanity, even to the extent of what He has offered for us to be able to have life. If we choose not to take part in that, we still get to live a life without Him in this world and don't immediately suffer the consequences for them. That's why, for example, you might see people who choose not to follow God continue to be successful with life, and it's very confusing to us as believers at times because, well, how are they going to live a life of sin but yet have the good life? It's because they have free will in this earth to do as they please. So that's where that kind of takes place. What about the angel? Those have throne of God, Raphael. The ones that are around the throne of God, what do they look like? We don't exactly know what they look like. Even more so, we don't even know if their form changes. It could be one form that they appear in one instance, and another form that they appear in another. Let me use this for an example, right? If you recall, during the instance with Lot, one thing I want to point out, I don't call them simply stories whenever I talk about the Bible. If anything, I call it a moment in history because there are moments in history. When Sodom and Gomorrah got destroyed, that's a factual occurrence. There's even they've even come close to identifying the location of where Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed, and they've picked up on like sulfuric and molten I want to say chemicals in that area in which is believed to have been destroyed. So, it's evident there that that's the case, that it was destroyed. Anyway, before Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed, angels were sent to, one, confirm how many people were good or close to, being good people that lived there. And they came in the form of beautiful men. And so, granted, on the side, it is believed that Jesus was amongst those forms. However, in that instance, angels are seen in a way that they're able to be viewed and not feared or someone to be afraid of. So that's where we can kind of see a change in form. So again, we don't know to what extent what angels can actually do and what they look like. That is a very toggleable iteration. But yeah, with the Quincy men, I mean, I get that they look scary, but at the same time, it's not as though angels aren't depicted in a very scary way as well. So since you bring up the Quincy, you bring up something else. Let's talk about Quincy and the Soul Reapers. So we're gonna jump back to the Soul Reapers, right? Where again, like I said, they send people through a cycle of. Thank you very much, Tyler, dude. I appreciate that. Thank you so very much. I know it was long-winded. I know it was long-winded, but I just kind of had to paint the picture and make it clear. I didn't want it to be confusing. Hey, you're a-okay. I'm not at a place where I can effectively break down every video that I do, but this live will be available on my YouTube. I'm recording right here. You'll probably mainly see me looking at the TikTok. I need to look at you guys more. I need to look at Asher and Comfortable a lot more. I'm sorry, guys. I'm more kind of used to this camera, so please forgive me. But definitely, yeah, Jarili, have a blessed one. Thank you so very much. Like I said, as well to you, this will be here on my YouTube, and your partner. Please let them know to come check it out as well. I'll greatly appreciate that, Jarili. Thank y'all so very much. All right, awesome. Thank you so very much, Mario. Have a blessed one. Have a blessed one. All right, we're gonna keep it going, guys. We're talking about the Soul Reapers, right? Remember, they go through a cycle of reincarnation. Now, again, concerning for a Christian. However, here's the takeaway for a Christian, which again I think puts Bleach in the camp of being acceptable anime for Christians. Bleach is one of probably the top 10 series I would recommend to Christians to watch, and this is an aspect of why. Okay, what allows for the spirit of a person to move on is when the Soul Reaper shows up. One, before they're devoured by a hollow. Two, before they're chained, because they got like a soul chain that remains with them, and over time that chain slowly decays to the point of once it goes all the way in, that person is left empty, a hole in their chest. They become a hollow, then they transform. So you're either eaten or your chain link runs out. However, what can happen is when a Soul Reaper shows up, that Soul Reaper will translate you over to the Soul Society. When they translate you over to the Soul Society, you're basically living in the afterlife. Okay, I mean, you can either just kind of live a normal life in that realm, or you can become a Soul Reaper. But another thing that happens too is if you are, and it gets a little tricky actually. It gets a little tricky because in the natural sense, it's not clear when the reincarnation occurs, right? Okay, I have to come back to you on that one, Dwayne. It's a little tricky because it's not clear in Bleach at what point the reincarnation process begins. The part I do know and understand to be the case is when you die at the hands of a Soul Reaper, your soul gets translated to reincarnation, an opportunity to reincarnate. So, for example, when a Soul Reaper goes up against a Hollow, right, they're not just completely destroying a demonic entity. That demonic monstrous entity that's a Hollow was once a human being. Because they didn't get to move on, they became a Hollow. And so or they were a very criminal person, and when they died, they immediately got sent to that realm. Again, there's a lot to go into that. But when the Soul Reaper kills the Hollow then is being reincarnated, right? So the power that Soul Reapers possess when they fight, it restores a soul to life so that they have another opportunity at living. They get reincarnated, okay? I think the rules also apply if a Soul Reaper kills another Soul Reaper. They get reincarnated. Their power does not destroy. Their power allows them to defeat so that that person's soul can be reincarnated. Okay, that's a very crucial piece to what Soul Reapers do. And when I say that because as Christians, we don't want to mistake what our spiritual warfare is supposed to be, right? We are not here to fight against sinners. We are not here to insult, destroy, demean, and put down people who don't believe in God to the point of treating them as if they are deserving of hell. Granted, Scripture says those that do not believe are condemned already. However, it is our responsibility by what God has expected of us to share the gospel, to lead people to Christ, that their souls may be saved. And what is soul saving? Giving a person an opportunity at life. So the Soul Reapers do what Christians are supposed to do. Amen. Is that a valid claim? Is that a valid claim? What do you guys think? Is that a valid claim? Soul Reapers do what Christians are supposed to do? Even against our enemies? No, you can play on the people they're fighting, they're dead. True. The people they're fighting are dead, but that's a part of the storyline. It's not to say that someone doesn't even live a life feeling as though their life sucks so bad they might as well be dead. Some of those people we make the mistake of treating them like there's no hope for them. Some people live a life of sin. Like I said, they're condemned already, and we don't take the time to save their lives like we're supposed to. We don't want to clothe them. We don't want to feed them. We don't want to let them into our home. We don't want to talk to them. So, yeah, sure, they might as well be gone already if we're not willing to do what we're responsible for doing according to the will of God to save lives. That's what God called us to do. That's what God called us to do is to save souls. And that's what soul reapers do. They save the lives of fellow soul reapers and they save the lives of hollows. Now here's the contrast. Okay, I might be able to tie this as a positive for Christians, maybe not. All right, Tyler, you said if they're dead, that's more an exorcism and still relevant to cleanse their spirit. Interesting point. Interesting point. I haven't studied enough about traditional exorcism to give an opinion on that, though I think I am 45-65 that it is real. Now I say exorcism. I don't say deliverance and casting out evil spirits and demons. I'm not talking about that. Casting out demons and evil spirits, I believe, is 100% true. However, the process that the Catholic Church goes through to do an exorcism and all of those ritualistic things, that's where my eyebrows kind of raised on that part. So that's where I'm kind of like, yeah, okay. Just want to say that. 1 second. I want to acknowledge Asher. He said something. He said, I love the video. What is your opinion on the concept of their part humans in this anime? And what's your opinion on the concept in fiction altogether? Asher, could you reiterate your question for me? I got a little confused there. Could you reiterate that for me? And then we have where Soldier has said, for we written, hey, man, you gonna go post scripture in the chat. Go ahead. Ephesians 6:12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Ding, ding, ding. But against principalities, powers, and against principalities, powers, and rulers in this world. Okay, so let's point something out here. Are we supposed to allow any and everybody in our lives, no matter what, and even if they're treating us like crap, we be nice to them and tolerate all of their foolishness? And if they're, hurting our family, we just sit back and take it. That's not what that means. Okay, church? That's not what that means. What this is speaking to is, as believers, and you're walking out that walk to live for Christ, you're going and sharing the gospel, you're hitting the streets, you're talking to someone about Jesus at work. In that moment, when they start insulting Jesus, it's not a moment for you to get butthurt and start talking insults back at them and thinking of how, oh, you deserve to burn in hell because you talk about Jesus like this. How dare you talk about? That's not what that moment is about, right? That's not what that conversation. In that instance, you need to remember the principalities and powers and the rulers of this world. Those people have given themselves over to them. So now I need to be in prayer. And in my heart, I definitely need to be fasting, especially if I'm looking to actually save souls in that instance directly, to go up against the spirit that is influencing the behavior on that person to speak negatively against Jesus. Even if it's their flesh, even if it's like the, I guess you could say, the spiritual aspect of flesh, not that physical flesh. Okay, so that's one thing too that's so very valid about this verse is when you're working in kingdom work and someone is challenging your faith, you're not to start scrapping with that individual. You need to be speaking the word of God to that individual even more to contend, not start wrestling, yelling, cursing, and none of that, and call yourself defending the faith. You're not defending the faith. If anything, you're spitting in the face of the Lord in that moment. We wrestle against principalities and powers. Quincy, they're Christians. There's an aspect to it. Ben, there's an aspect to it. We're going to talk about that, okay? Quincy's are Christians is a statement that Ben has brought up here in the chat. And so let's clarify this, right? We just clarified that soul reapers don't destroy souls. They save souls. When they kill them, they're put through the process of reincarnation so that they can live again. Okay, Quincy's complete opposite. They destroy it. When they kill someone, they're dead. That's it. They cease to exist. No more. You're dead. You're destroyed. You're completely and utterly destroyed. There's no reincarnation. There's no, revert back to your normal form. None of that. They're destroyed. The Quincy's destroy whenever they use their power. That's why they're also able to absorb spirit energy. That's what they're able to do. That's their power. Now, we could easily look at that and think, well, Christians don't destroy. We're not supposed to destroy. I agree. But the verse that speaks of there's life and death in the power of the tongue, that is not excluding Christians. We have power in the things that we say, not only to speak life, but also to speak death. So that is also where we need to be very cautious in the way that we speak, who we're speaking to, etc. So in some sense, it's true that Quincy's are a representation of Christians in the sense of, they separate themselves. We're though we are to separate ourselves and live holy lives, we're not supposed to seek the destruction of others. So you got to be able to balance the two, right? The soul reaper and the Quincy relationship is supposed to be a balanced one to keep the soul society in order, as well as keeping Earth in order, because you don't want to overpopulate because you're reincarnating every single hollow, and you don't want to destroy everything so that nothing is able to live on and move forward. So that's where the Quincy's and the Soul Reapers need to balance themselves out. Okay. The world hating Christians and the gospel is in the Bible, so I don't get surprised. Not a justification, but it is to be expected. That is real. That is so very real. Who said that? Chili Sauce, man, you was the realest one for that. Chili Sauce. Chili. We weren't going here because we're talking about Bleach, but let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about that for a second, Chili Sauce. Before we talk about that, I need y'all to get the likes up. I ain't gonna have 7 people in here, and we're only at 2.4K. Let's get it up to 10,000 likes in the chat. Let's go. And we're sitting at 3 here on YouTube. Great job, everybody. Can we get past 6? Our record was 6 last time. Let's get the likes up and see if we can get past 6. Let's get the likes up here in the chat. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Come on, everybody. This is wonderful. This is wonderful. Y'all are a blessing. Y'all are a blessing. Now, going back to what Chili Sauce was saying as y'all are boosting up the likes. Chili Sauce speaking on the oppression, the disrespect, the insults that we as Christians are going to be enduring is a given. It's a given. That's why you have to be wise and tactful about how you speak against the things that are being said against us. I want to bring clarity, not to make someone look foolish, because they made themselves look foolish when they said something foolish. However, I want to destroy their state of ignorance by bringing the truth and giving clarity to the things that they don't understand. That's my responsibility in that moment. You know what's amazing? It brings back up how the Bible says that, though I think it's John 3:17, I think is where it says it at. Let's go there. If I got the book, why not use it, right? John 3. I'll do y'all a favor. I'll read 16 and 17. I think y'all would like that, right? Y'all would like if I read 16 and 17, right? We can do that. We can do that. We can do that. Let's do that. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. Now, verse 17 says, for God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. Let me continue. He that believeth on him is not condemned. This is verse 18. But he that believeth not is condemned already. Okay, so you remain in the state in which you were before he came and lived on the earth. You remain in the state that you were before receiving him as Christ, if you choose not to see him as who he is. Okay, cool. You just stay as you are, and as you are is in a condemned state. So that's the reality of that. And so I say that to say this, that I don't need to go that extra mile of speaking evil against an individual or seeking harm for that person. The person's condemned already. Why even need me to raise my hand against them? I have no need to raise my hand against them if they're condemned already. It serves no purpose. It serves no purpose. It's like a judge putting a judgment on an individual, and then someone coming in to beat up on that person. Like, that beat up is unnecessary. He's going to jail. Like, what's the point? Now you're just doing something unnecessary. And even y'all ain't ready for that one. So one, if a judge passes judgment on someone and their sentence has been set already, right? That person sentence has already been set. If you do any action against the person who's been convicted of your own volition by your own hand, you set yourself up to be convicted because you took actions into your own hands that went against the judgment of the judge. Right? We as human beings condemn nobody. We have no hell or heaven to put anybody in, right? So we have no heaven or hell to put anybody in, right? If we're not the judge, but then I go to act against someone who I have considered to be guilty, right? Then I am going against the judge who has already placed judgment, thus putting myself in a position to what? To be judged. I hope I didn't lose nobody on that. I know that was a bit much, but I hope I didn't lose nobody. I hope I didn't lose nobody. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, it's crazy. I need not place a judgment when judgment's already been served. You know what I'm saying? Hey, that's real. Quez, thank you so much. I know you be putting in that work, Quez. Thank you so very much, Quez. Now, let's keep it going though. Okay, we're talking about Bleach. We talked about Soul Reapers, what they do. We talked about Quincy's and what they do. Let's talk about Ichigo, right? Let's talk about Ichigo. All right, who? Let me know in the comment section who has watched Bleach and who hasn't. Who has watched Bleach and who hasn't? Okay, Young and Gifted. What do you think is not okay for Christians? And we'll talk about it. Only first 2 episodes. Quiz! I'm slightly hurt, Quiz. I'm slightly hurt. Okay, word. I'll try not to do no spoilers, Tori. Yeah, you're in the doghouse now, Quiz. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, Quiz. You're not in the doghouse. Young and Gifted. You can let me know what's not okay for Christians in Bleach, and we can talk about it. I mean, chili sauce. I can't be mad at you for choosing a better anime to give attention to. And comfortable, you're okay as well. I understand having not watched it, no pressure. I just want to be careful of it. Coop, I was looking for you, Coop. And you weren't there. You failed me. Okay, I'll get back to you on that, Asher. And also comfortable, yeah, it's definitely okay. At the same time, I don't want to give too many spoilers. So I'm trying to be very careful not to spoil too much. You're okay. I don't like making my main people say sorry. So Coop and Quez, y'all are good. Y'all are good. Y'all are OGs in the chat, so y'all are good. I'm just giving y'all a hard time. Ow, my finger. Dang it, man. I'm trying not to give too many spoilers. Okay, here's a spoiler-ish. Question is One Piece. Hold on. There's okay. Guys, we're gonna we'll do this. If he'll let me. I'm gonna bring on Young and Gifted, and then I'm gonna come back to Asher. Young and Gifted, I'm gonna give you time to say your piece on Bleach, and so we can talk about that if that's okay. I'm gonna invite him on to talk.
Hello.
What's up, Young and Gifted? How you doing?
I'm doing well. First of all, I appreciate what you're doing. I like the fact that you are a man of God and you love comics and manga and anime. So I just wanted to say that it's not a bad thing to watch because I've watched Bleach too. But the whole thing about soul reaping.
Right.
And the hollow, even the main character, I know you say you're not trying to do spoilers, but the main character, there's a part where he actually becomes a hollow, in order to gain more power.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, we know that that's kind of dark right there to a Christian. So we know that it's wrong, but I'm just saying people got to watch out for that. Just kind of letting that part of you become drawn by the darkness, by anger and rage. And the hollow, which really means empty, having that hole.
That's good. Yeah.
Just having that hole in you. But we've seen it happen to Ichigo, but he overcame it. But at the same time, it was still dangerous. He was at a life or death. He was in a life or death, situation. Then so that's all I wanted to say.
True.
It's not necessarily, the whole thing is not necessarily a bad show. It's a really good show to me.
But those are your red flag moments, basically.
Right. Yeah.
Well, do you have time to talk about that some more?
I'm actually, I gotta about to start service. I'm actually in church too.
Oh my goodness!
Our first service. We just finished our first service, so we're about to start again in our second service. But I would love to chat sometime again. Like I said, I love what you're doing. Yeah.
I got you, man. Absolutely. Tell you what, hit me up. I don't know if you heard. I got some Christian anime journals that I'm working on. Granted, I don't know what your church bylaws are in regards to anime and stuff like that, but for your young people and others that may like it, I might have a product that y'all might like, and I hope to promote it with you guys, okay?
Absolutely. All right. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so very much, man. You have a blessed one. I will be responding to you in here, and I don't want you to feel like I'm talking behind your back. You can go back to the YouTube video to see what I said. That way you don't feel as though I'm like talking and you're not present, okay?
Oh, of course. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so very much, man. You be blessed. Y'all have a good time in church.
All right. You too.
Awesome. Peace. Okay. So, here's what Young and Gifted brought up. He brought up. I don't know if you guys heard that. I do apologize if you couldn't hear it. What he brought up is, yes, Bleach is good. There's a lot of things that Christians can take away from Bleach, but at the same time, there are things that might be red flags or something you need to be mindful of in Bleach. And of course, one of the things that we can definitely agree on is that no real story or movie is directly trying to correlate something back to the Bible or as good or necessarily as bad. However, it's left up to the audience to either grasp what the writer is trying to communicate or to come to their own conclusion and thus move forward from that. And a lot of times with the different types of media that Christians are exposed to, it's up to us to interpret it as we will and make our decisions from there. So if, characters turning into hollows is a concern for you, definitely pull back. And this is going to be a minor spoiler for those that didn't complete the series or those that have seen clips because you're on YouTube and you love a good anime music video and AMV. I'm born 1990, so in the 2000s I was hitting up YouTube for a good Naruto AMV. Boy, I come from that generation. I was about it back in the day, guys. Y'all may not know, but I was going to come as soon as I come home from school. Computer, YouTube. Let me watch that Linkin Park Naruto video. Like I was doing that. I watched it go. I think I watched the Travis Barker Soldier Boy remix. And they did it with Dragon Ball. Amazing. Yes, Dragon Ball AMVs. I come from that pocket. I'm just saying, y'all probably have seen some spoilers for Bleach, if we're being honest with ourselves, right? So y'all know that Ichigo's part hollow. He has a hollow. Okay. So here's the thing about that. Ichigo, when he became a Soul Reaper, wasn't looking to become a hollow. Okay. Ichigo wasn't looking to become a hollow. So what ended up happening was Ichigo, upon discovering that this hollow can manifest itself whenever he wants, and even worse, the hollow wants to take me over and become me instead of me being myself, he then had to not only conquer the hollow, but learn how to harness that power because he couldn't ignore a part of himself. Okay? What is the message in that? As Christians, what is the message in that? What is the message in that, right? Here's a good example, especially for us Christian men, and in some ways, though it's not talked about enough, are Christian women. Okay? Sex. Let's talk about sex, right? We're not getting into the deets. However, it's very unhealthy for a young person to be introduced to corn. It's very unhealthy for a young person to be getting into sex early in their life because that can have very damaging effects not only on them as an individual, but affect them in their future marriage. It's gotten to this place, especially with the easy access to corn, to the point where people have stalled their very lives in pursuit of more of that physical pleasure versus moving forward. Now, there are some people, just to use an example, not shooting shots at them, but Destiny, who's a very popular YouTuber these days, going on, channels like Pearly Just Pearly Things, talking to Sneeko, talking with Aiden Ross, talking with Abba from Abba and Preach. And he is one that does speak to that corn is acceptable in moderation. However, as believers, we say corn in zero moderation is good for a young man. So that's with that being said, right? Because getting into corn and because getting it having issues with sexual lust and sexual desires and lacking that self-control, right? Does that mean every young man or woman should just never get married and never have sex? Is that what that means? Does that mean they should never get married and never have sex? No. They need to learn discipline and self-control so that when they do, one, get married, two, have intimacy with their partner, they can have that intimacy appropriately, that way that their relationship is actually growing through that versus that being a burden that they constantly have to wrestle with a wedding ring on their finger. So that is something that is what's taking place in regards to Ichigo. Ichigo realizes I have this monster inside of me that we may think as Christians, well, you just need to be completely rid of it. He needs deliverance. He needs it. My nose is tickling. I don't know why I did that. He needs deliverance. He needs to completely be freed. And yes, as believers, we have Christ, we have life, but we still live in this world. So exposure to and opportunity to sin is still present for us. I know, Christians. I know. Oh my gosh, Christians sin. Oh my goodness, Christians. Yes, we do. We sin, guys. We sin. Some of us sin pretty often. Some of us sin from time to time. Some of us sin maybe once every 3 or 4 days. Some of us sin every day and don't know it. But we sin. We sin. Ichigo, he has a hollow. What he did was learn how to harness it. Your issues are harnessable for you to be able to grow, mature, and make a difference. Ichigo did that. He learned how to harness that which was within him so that he could live. And guess where he got that from? I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do that spoiler. I can't do that spoiler. I can't do that spoiler. I'll behave. I can't do that spoiler. Okay, Tori, I will get back to you on that. I will get back to you on that. On that. Who's the Johnny Reigns? Oh, I know who you're talking about. That young black lady. That young black lady. Man, that declaration. Look, chili sauce. The moment she said she doesn't is the moment that she did. The moment she said she doesn't sin is the moment that she did. And I say that not because she said the words, but because she's been convinced in her head and in her heart that she doesn't. In that moment, she immediately sins. The Bible already speaks of it. The Bible already says anyone that thinks they don't sin has sinned. I think it says something much worse. I just can't think of exactly what the context of the verse was. But so her statement is false. When it comes to what you should think of it, simply know exactly that she does in fact sin, and that you and simply pray if she won't respond to you. Simply pray that she has her eyes open, that the scales are removed so that she can see the truth. That's what you should seek for, is for her to see the truth, my brother. That's what we do in this instance. It's not to say, what kind of Christian is she? How dare she? It's another moment for us to be praying for our brothers and sisters. Amen? That's another moment for us to make a difference for them. All right, guys. I'm not ignoring the TikTok chat, but I'm going to be acknowledging here on the YouTube chat. So bear with me one second, all right? So Asher is asking about what I think of stories where monsters are infused with humans. And I kind of just spoke to it in one sense, where the monster side isn't necessarily a monster as much as it can be interpreted as the dark side of a human being, the corrupt nature of a human being, and that human being thinking, I either need to completely destroy that aspect of myself, which is a lot of what some Christians get into. You need to destroy the corrupt nature, cast that demon out, this, that, and the third, right? We agree with that. But at the same time, there are some things that don't go away without self-control and discipline at the same time. That's something that we need to be mindful of, right? So I say all that to say this, that where, yes, they can use that monster aspect to speak on there being a need of self-control, discipline, or even deliverance when we're talking about a believer. At the same time, we can't act like people don't make mistakes and don't sin or don't get an opportunity to change. Because now today, you could hear someone did something horrible in the past, and that person's head's on the guillotine after that, right? That's the monster. And if you ask me, that's the intent when we're talking about literature, when creating stories like that. They're not talking about literal being half monsters, not talking about literal half demons. It's symbolic to convey a message, okay? However, the thing is, one thing when we're talking about reality, it's clear biblically, especially in the beginning, that they are okay. And oh, this is gonna get real dicey. I don't know how y'all gonna feel about this. It's gonna get really dicey. What I'm about to say, real dicey. The Nephilim, right? The Nephilim, biblically, are abominations. Okay, fallen angels mating with man, producing giants. God wiped them out and God didn't. Oh man, God, there's so much to unpack. Oh, okay. I gotta get my brain in order. Guys. So, in part, God brought the flood because of the giants. I say in part because when he talked to Noah, he didn't say he was bringing the flood because of the Nephilim. He said he's bringing the flood because of there being so much violence and corruption in the world, which technically could include the Nephilim because they were the most powerful entities physically on the earth. So that's the thing that's just like, I got something messed up. Oh, man. Hey, Rub, I will answer that in just a second, okay? I want to answer a couple questions from the YouTube chat, and I'll be right back with you, I promise. But definitely, that's one of those things that's just like, now my mind's a little blown. Okay? So God calls those giants abominations. So that is a given, point blank, period. There's no other way of looking at that, no other way of interpreting that. The Nephilim are abominations, right? Now, before we start losing our minds and segueing, right? Something else is spoken of biblically in the same connotation. Same-sex attraction is spoken of as being an abomination biblically, point blank, period. That does not equal to deserving of death always, okay? So that, again, keep these things in mind. That's what's blowing my mind again about the scriptures, right? It doesn't immediately mean that you're completely deserving of death because you're considered an abomination. Here's why. You know what else is considered abomination according to the Bible? Pride. Being prideful is an abomination. So if you want to bring that energy to the giants, you want to bring that energy to someone who's of the same-sex attraction, trans even, you want to get all into the weeds on them and think you ought to condemn and judge them and talk harshly to them. They don't deserve death at your hands. You have no power to condemn them. And if you are going to bring that energy to them, then you need to bring that same energy to the prideful. And that most likely includes you. Just keep that 100. If you equate abomination to death, put the prideful in that category, and that just might include you. So you want to be very careful of defining those lines, right? You want to be very careful of that when it comes to how you're seeing the giants, how you're seeing those type of people and other types of people, okay? Just because they're declared to be an abomination doesn't mean they still don't need Jesus. It doesn't mean they still don't need help. It doesn't mean that they still don't need their lives to be transformed. That okay? So let me just clear that up, right? I hope that helps, Asher. I hope that helped, brother. Now, next is comfortable. Comfortable says, yeah, that's an interesting topic. I have been looking into the books of Enoch a bit. The book goes a bit deeper into that subject. Not sure if you've read that yet. Comfortable, this isn't against anyone who, just reads it as a side piece. But I have encountered one too many people who choose the book of Enoch over the actual Bible and the gospel and consider the Bible to be an incomplete and false text in its current state. And so when it comes to the book of Enoch, I'm actually pretty much against it on my own personal. I don't seek to go against anyone that wants to read it. And I don't go against people who want to read it just to be like, oh, well, I want to see what it has to say. But it doesn't dictate their life. I don't think you're on that energy comfortable. Um, so that's what that's one of my things when it comes to the book of Enoch. I'm just like, man, right? I'm just like, I don't need to read it. For me, I don't need to read it, right? I'll be honest with you. After 59, 60 volumes of fairy tale, I should have done the same thing. I should have just been like, I don't need to read it. But look at what I did. Look what I did. I spent all this money. Yeah! All that money on fairy tale. The fights were good. Right? The fights were good. I'll just say that. The fights were good. I got you comfortable. I got you. And that's perfectly fine. You're just reading it to see what it's about and to have the understanding about the content that other people have when it comes to reading the book of Enoch. What that does for you comfortable is it enhances your realm of ministry. It enhances your opportunity to share the gospel with people who are consumed with the book of Enoch, and you can take that person and bring them back to the gospel. And so that's the beautiful thing about you actually being read up on it. Maybe one day I will. Again, it's just not my thing. But you know, it's okay. I got comfortable now. Who can speak to the Book of Enoch audience? All right. Someone asked me, am I also a fan of comic books? Also, I absolutely am a fan of comic books. But here's the thing: your boy's not rich yet off of his YouTube channel, his TikTok, and his Christian anime journals yet. But one day I will be, and I will not be rich. I'll probably at least be making six figures. I aim to make six figures eventually. I aim to make millions. We ain't gonna play these games. I aim to make millions doing this on social media. I aim to make millions. I don't aim to make millions so I could, okay, I want a pool too, and I want a pool table. All right, let me express my selfishness just a little bit. I want a pool. I want a pool table. I'd like to have a 4 to 5 bedroom house so I can have this big, beautiful family. I want that for myself. I ain't gonna act fake with you people. I want what I want, right? I envision having this beautiful future. I'm not gonna be fake like that. So I do what I do. That's why I'm working so hard. At the same time, what's also extremely important to me is sharing the gospel. It is reaching those that have natural as well as spiritual needs by providing them with clothing, providing them with food, providing them with options for educational purpose, financial opportunities, all of these things, housing opportunities. I want to open all of those doors for people that need it. Okay, this is a small segue. I don't mean to get so distracted. I'm gonna come back to the comic books. I promise you, I'm gonna come back to the comic books. But I want to be able to build this successful life, to reflect that I have been able to help others have an opportunity to build a successful life. I don't want to make the pathway. I don't want to build the house for them. I'm gonna teach them how to build the house. I don't want to fish for them. I want to teach them how to fish. And so, just as a small segue, another business model plan that I have that I'm working on the side, after this grows to the level I need it to grow, is I have created my own business name, and you better not steal it because I'm coming for your heads if you do. It's called My Time Investments. So when people come to me with great business ideas and show me that they put some work into making something happen that's a part of their dreams, I want to invest in that person's dreams, equip them to complete the task. That way they can start building that business, making that revenue, and all of those things. I want to be able to invest in other people and invest in their time and see them succeed. I want to be able to do that for people one day in the future. But that's a part of me wanting to be wealthy. You know what I'm saying? That's a part of me wanting to be wealthy. It's not just about me having a pool and a pool table. All right, I just want to make that clear for you guys. I know that's a little suspicious. But yeah, I love comic books. But when I first started working, of course, I loved anime more at the time, and I still kind of do. I'm not even gonna lie about that. I still love manga more than I do comic books. But I really, really love comic books. And when I had to choose, well, you're gonna buy comic books, or you're gonna buy manga. I bought manga. Like I couldn't stop myself. I was just like, man, manga is so amazing. Manga, 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 manga. Comics are sold based off of whatever the store is selling. It's not like they have the old ones, the middle generation ones, or the new ones just laying in wait for you to get. You got whatever they got available, kind of, and so it kind of leaves you stuck on wanting to buy certain things probably having to buy them offline. But once I am able to, I think the first comic book I will get and review here on the channel is going to be X-Men's God Loves, Man Kills, which I think is a great starting place for me when I go to start talking about comic books here on the channel. So definitely I'll be starting there uh, with that. That'll be my first comic book review. But I really love comic books. Marvel is my number one favorite. Spider-Man is my number one favorite superhero. I do love DC Comics, and I like DC Comics for their story writing, not necessarily for individual characters. That's why I don't have a favorite DC hero. There are people I like I'm building up a respect for Superman. You know what I'm saying? I used to hate Superman. I thought Superman was the stupidest superhero of all time. I like a superhero that struggles. I like a superhero that has problems. I don't like no daggone superhero that's just going to completely dominate when he shows up. Like, I'm not for that. Like, that's not my style. Ooh. Do you want to hear about that one? Etron, 1 sec. I'll be right with you, brother. Y'all making me all kinds of excited. But yeah, that's my thing when it comes to comics. But yeah, the first one I will get is God Loves, Man Kills. And maybe you guys can help me with that. We'll talk about that later. Let me do one more thing on Bleach, and then I will get to you, Etron. I'll get to you in 1 second, okay? Let's look at something else about Bleach. Anyone have any other questions about Bleach? Anything that's concerning about Bleach, or something that you think is worrisome? Oh, I got a perfect one. Fan service. Now, when it comes to fan service and Bleach, if you ask me, it's minimal. In my opinion, I could be off. You can tell me I'm off. You're more than welcome to. But in my opinion, the fan service in Bleach is minimal, to where as a believer, you should be mature enough that it shouldn't affect you like that. In my opinion, okay? Otherwise, if Bleach is that difficult, you might want to just delete all your social media platforms and kind of go on a disciplinary journey to learn some self-control, because Bleach is minimal. And you also want to lock your door and start working from home, because you can't go to Walmart or Ingles without seeing something that even comes close to what we get in Bleach. So that's just like, and you can't go to the beach anymore, right? You can't go to the mall anymore if Bleach is that bad. Okay, if Bleach is really that bad. I didn't see your question, inventor. So hit me up. What question you got for me in regards to Bleach? Hit me up. Let me know what you got. But yeah, I mean, the fan service, in my opinion, is minimal. And so if it's minimal, then that's where you really need to gauge. If something's minimal, you need to gauge your self control. So that's just my opinion on that. I ain't watched Bleach, but I'm watching One Piece, and it's not as great as everyone has made it out to be. Well, Rachel, I mean, when it comes to something like One Piece, you're not supposed to watch One Piece off of anyone. That's a dumb response, Rachel. I apologize. One of the hardest things for people to do, period, not just you, Rachel, but people, period, is when we watch something off of the motivations of others, simply watching it of our own eyes and not off of the standards set by others, right? It's like when people give you the get rich quick scheme, and it's just like, oh, this is only going to take 1 month, but then you go and do it, and then the hoops you have to jump through don't make any daggone sense. And then when you get up to that 29th day, you're like, it's going to magically turn around, and it don't. That's kind of like what I get off that, is like when people set a standard, this false illustration of what something's supposed to be, and then you go and check it out, and it's not that. I don't hype One Piece up by telling people, oh, you get this, and you get this, and then it has this, and then it has that. I just say, you should watch One Piece. Like that's how when I limit my encouragement to. You should watch One Piece. One Piece is amazing. One Piece is so well put together. And even more so, you do have to. The only other thing I'll say is like you got to get past Alabasta. I mean, you got to get to Alabasta. That's the line. If you get to Alabasta and you still don't like One Piece, just give up. Don't even watch One Piece anymore. Go watch Demon Slayer or something like. And that's not shots because I love Demon Slayer too. Very well written series. Well, go watch Demon Slayer. But that's how I treat it. How do you? Ooh, inventor. That's the best question. Yo, inventor came with a real question. Hold on, we're gonna get to your question. Let me check Rachel again. It's not bad at all, but people have made it out to be better than Fairy Tail or other major anime. Hold on, Rachel. 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 I gotta put the hat on. Rachel. 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 I know you did not just make that comparison. People made it out to be like it's better than Fairy Tail. It is not. Look, it is better than Fairy Tail. It is better. Look, One Piece is better than Fairy. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. You're wrong. If anyone says that Fairy Tail is better than One Piece or equal to, you're garbage. I'm not. I'm totally kidding, Rachel. This is not serious, by the way. Just want you to know, you're garbage. And you don't have taste. You like things to be spoon-fed to you and made easy. That's the only reason people like Fairy Tail. For boobs and simple fight scenes. That's it. There's something wrong with you. Dadgummit. I had to put the hat on for this nonsense. No! One Piece is the greatest manga of all time, doggone. Oh! You have kicked in my stand-up. You have kicked up my stand-up. Fairy Tail. Fairy Tail. Fairy Tail. Oh, I'm hurt. And you say in other major anime, One Piece is major anime. Period. What do you mean? Oh, this is nonsense. This is not. You need to go put your right hand on a One Piece volume and turn from your wicked ways. That's. That's what I have to say to you for that comment. That was nonsense. I'm hurt. Good God Almighty. Oh, let me calm down. I think that's that cheeseburger and fries kicking in from McDonald's. Whew. Oh. No, Rachel, no. You don't like the storyline. Oh, they don't compare. It's not the no, Rachel. I'm not okay. All right, Rachel. I'm gonna put the ball in Rachel's court, guys. I'm putting the ball in Rachel's court. Rachel. All right. Do you want me to continue, or can I just stop it? Like I'm gonna put the ball in your court. If you want me to keep going on this rant of how Fairy Tail does not touch. Let her cook. She's not cooking. Quiz. She's not cooking. Quiz. No. You talking about me or her? Oh, yeah. Thank you. Turn off the chili sauce. Turn off the stove. I am so upset. I am so upset. Rachel, do you need me to continue my rant? Yes or no? Continue my rant, yes or no? As y'all can tell, I'm turned up right now. I'm turned up. I'm sipping on my Sprite. Rachel, do you want me to continue my rant? If you don't, you got 5 seconds. No answer. I'll calm down and switch gears. All right, we're gonna continue the rant. That story is so simple. Fairy Tail is the simplest written story I've ever read in my life. You mean to tell me that all he has to do is believe and boost his friendship to be able to get strong? It's garbage. That's garbage. Luffy actually had to train his technique to be able to get stronger. He doesn't have the power of friendship. He has technique and tactic. You mean I got stretchy powers and I had to think of how am I gonna make stretchy powers work? That's skill. That's a tactic. But what does Natsu have, huh? Natsu has fire, the basic fire ability, and don't you dare say, well, he can eat ace. Don't you do that. Don't you do that. Don't you do that. Don't do me like that, boy. I swear I get so ill. That made me so mad. Well, he can eat Ace's fire. Blasphemy. That's evil. Nasu, fire powers, and then all of a sudden he can eat lightning. And when he ate lightning, I was like, okay, he took a risk and it made him hurt a little bit to do it. All right, cool. That's all right. So then they went to where he was daggone fighting the other dude, and he could tap into the power again. And I was just like, okay, so now he can eat it and then harness how to do it again and re-trigger it. Y'all playing too much. And then he can eat God power. I'm like, be for real. Be for real. You just made him a whole cheat code for no reason. He's a cheat code for no reason. And every fight is exactly the same. Every fight is exactly the same. Threat. Oh my gosh, they're so powerful. Ha, let's fight. Fight, fight, fight. We're not winning. Fight, fight. Keep on fighting because we can't give up. And then all of a sudden we're just stronger just out of nowhere because what? I believe in myself and I believe in my friend. That is weak. That is weak sauce. There's weak sauce. I'm sorry. And this is my last one, and I'll leave you alone. This is what ruined this series. Where is it at? Let me find it. It is the worst moment in fairy tale history. Where is my volume at, doggone it? I'm gonna find the book. Where did fairy tale go? Right here. Fairy tale go? No. That's weird. Go back here. I did. Oh, here it is. Found it. I'm gonna find this volume. And you wait. You wait. Found it. I think it's right here. Yep, it's right here. Found it. I found it. I told you I was gonna find it. Hold on. So upset. So upset. Hold on. See, then you look. The fight was so weak, it didn't even last that long. Oh no, it's right here. Nope. 22. It's right here somewhere. I'm gonna find it. I found it. Say what? Hold on. 1, 2, 3. I guess. I guess I'm still ill about it. My anger is valid. Don't care what anyone says. So y'all remember fairy tale watchers this moment, right? Y'all remember when they went to that other dimension and they met like all of Happy's people and all of that stuff, and daggum, they had no magic there. You had to use items. And then when they got back, turns out that the girl that was his childhood friend, who's the sister to the muscle dude and Mary Jane, their little sister, right? You remember? I don't know, Rachel, if you remember that moment, but when the little sister actually was in that other world, all of a sudden she comes back, and my thing was, the thing that made me so frustrated was it was randomly put there in the series. It was so randomly put there. It was so randomly placed in the ark for them to be like, we're fighting in this other world. We beat the bad guy in this other world. We come back home from this other world. Oh, by the way, guys, I actually wasn't dead. I was actually in this other dimension. I'm back now. It's so good to see you. Granted, they told us how it happened, and they did the little small, and I'll tell you, small. I'm used to One Piece flashbacks where it's like half a volume. So I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this like 3-page flashback, and I'm supposed to cry. I'm not gonna cry over a 3-page flashback. I need to be moved with my emotions, okay? And that's what they gave me. They gave me like 3 or 4 pages of flashback. Natsu is shocked. She sees her siblings. She gets emotional, and it's like 2 pages of crying. And then, okay, next mission. And I'm like, wait, what? I didn't even get to feel this moment. I didn't even get to feel this moment. And what was worse was this was Natsu's childhood friend. And you mean to tell me that Natsu's childhood friend finally coming back gets him to give her a hug, and then he's back on Lucy, and he doesn't think twice about her? Like that doesn't work for me. I'm sorry, guys. I am so very sorry. That does not work for me one bit, man. Man, if you're gonna fight, if you're gonna be excited, emotional about getting somebody back, or fight to save somebody, like I need to see a deeper connection than like 2 pages, 2 or 3 pages. You know what I'm saying? So that's what frustrated me the most about Fairy Tail. It's like in volume 23. And that's where I finally got sick of the series. It was like right up in here. I was done after that. I was so mad. And I still bought 62 books. There's something wrong with me. I did all of this ranting and I still bought 62 books. Dude, One Piece is, I'm just saying One Piece is really good. If you don't end up liking it, it's fine. Just don't ever compare it to Fairy Tail, saying Fairy Tail is better. And we'll be good. Rachel's still welcome here. Rachel's still my friend. And don't anybody mess with my friends. Don't anybody mess with my friends, okay? Rachel's my friend. Y'all better back off. She cannot like One Piece. I'll forgive her for her crimes. No, Natsu didn't have to learn to be a dragon. Natsu had to learn to be a demon. That's even worse. Tori, you are welcome. Being that I answered your question. Yes, One Piece is good. Someone else asked me. Oh, yeah. I almost forgot. Inventor asked this is going to be the final question we'll talk about in regards to Bleach. Inventor asked me about, and for those that haven't watched Bleach up to this point, the leader of the Quincy is known as Yowak or Yavak. Okay, that is the German pronunciation for Yahweh. Dun, dun. Yowak, who is the main Quincy, the boss Quincy, the bad guy, leader of the Stern Rider. His name is, they called him Yovak. Now, the reason he got that name, because it's not necessarily his birth name, but the reason that he got that name was because the people in his land, whenever they needed a human body part or they needed someone to be healed, they did all of those things by using the parts in the body of Yowak, which of course he would heal, but they would use him and he would heal people. And so they elevated him to this position of godhood, to show that appreciation for him saving them. They called him Yawak. They called him Yahweh. And so, yes, that is concerning. And it does, with the way that they set it up, make it look as though that Yahweh, Yawak, is the enemy, but he is not. Okay, he's not the actual enemy. He's not he is the enemy in the story, but Yahweh, as in Christ, is not. Where what Yawak is looking to do is overthrow the Soul King, which is the king over the entirety of the Soul Society, the Quincy's and all of them. He's looking to overthrow the Soul King, which, if we were to translate this to, the Christian perspective, looking to overthrow God. However, we know that when we're talking about the true Yahweh, when we're talking about Yahshua, when we're talking about Yeshua, when we're talking about Jesus, that's not what Jesus has come to do. If anything that Jesus does, Jesus seeks mercy at the hand of God so that God doesn't destroy us when we're deserving of it, because he seeks that God has mercy on those that he loves. That's the purpose of Jesus, not to oppose the Soul King, to oppose God. And so, although that's what's happening in the series, being that they make it known that that's not his actual name. The people elevated him to godhood. Keep that in mind, right? The people elevated him to godhood until he walked it out. Okay, and so that is an issue of people seeing someone as quote unquote virtuous or good because they do these nice things to the point that they're subject to that person. It's almost like, and this is a very dangerous example. It's like the Yahtzees when they elevated Bitler to his position and acknowledged him. You know, the way that they reverenced him so much. I heard somebody say, I think it was on a Jordan Peterson discussion. I also want to start doing live recordings of Jordan Peterson conversations. I want to go through his biblical, psychological analysis of the Bible. I would love to do that with you guys on here. I think that would be absolutely fun. But he does what's my train of thought? But a guy in this discussion said that there's this concern. There was this concern. Please listen and follow along. I hope this helps. That there was this concern when we're talking about our covenant relationship with God, where with God, God is the one who established the covenant. So it is on God for the keeping of the covenant. Yes, we are required to be obedient. There's an expectation on that part. That part's just given. However, it is a given that God is the one that is keeping and upholding the covenant, even with Christ. Now, for Christians, it's Christ, Jesus, who has established and fulfilled the covenant. None of our sacrifices. It is none of us raising from the dead per se. It is what Jesus has done that's even made it possible for us to be saved. So that's it's all to him. And so what happened was, in the aspect of Bitler, there was this sparked concern that what Bitler wanted to do was trouble that covenant by wiping out the entirety of the people, of those people. Thus, with those people would cause division, with the concern that the father isn't showing up to do his part, which is ensuring that they would be kept. God promised that he would keep the children of Israel, but for the children of Israel to go through what they went through back then, it raised that question of, well, he's not with us. But as we see, where the war had ended and they were saved, granted, a lot of lives were lost, but they were saved in the end. And so with all of that having taken place, is cause to think that the covenant wasn't kept, or this person elevated to this position looks to overthrow the king by, destroying his people, right? And so in the end, he ended up being the one to lose. And we kind of see that already with Yuak in the series of Bleach, where he was looking to destroy all, to rule over all, thinking he can do it better than the Soul King. He ends up losing anyway. And so that's just something that I would say to that, as I don't think that is to say that Christ is not who he says he is, or that he's a fallacy, or that he's anything but who he's, the true and living God. I don't think Yuak is a bad concern. I think it is an interesting story writing. That's one thing that Christians, really, what ends up really hurting Christians is not being able to differentiate creative writing from their zealousness for Christ, from their convictions, from what they do and do not understand about what the word says, all of those things up above. So that's just my whole take when it comes to Yuak. What did Rachel say? Rachel, you also said, I am at the part where they just defeated Arlong and Luffy lets Nami wear his hat. And you know what? That's a very significant moment, Rachel, where Luffy lets Nami wear the hat. That is extremely significant. You gotta remember, even Nami was the one that sewed up the hat, which I thought was so sweet. Oh, I want to get remarried. I can't wait to get remarried to the perfect woman, and in case something happens to my straw hat, that they can fix my straw hat. Oh. Sorry, I got Christ for now until I get remarried. All right, guys. That is all that I have in regards to if Bleach is okay for Christians. I hope we were able to speak to some very significant things in regards to Bleach, and and I was able to open the eyes of others in areas that they did not know or consider when it came to that series. If you have any other interest in knowing my full perspective in regards to Bleach, know that there are 2 videos posted to my YouTube channel where you can go and check out my perspective as a Christian on Bleach. Just so you know a couple of things as we're drawing this to a close. One, I aim to do, I guess you could say, chapter by chapter or arc by arc reviews on different anime and TV series and manga. That way we can actually look at significant moments in those series and talk about those versus giving broad responses for the overall plot and storyline. So I look to do that sometime in the future. Maybe next year we'll go through doing that for the big 3, etc., and go on and do that. Tune in later on this week, and we'll be continuing our Bible study. I believe we'll be doing this on Wednesday, if not Thursday, on faith and looking at the fathers and the sister of faith. I say sister because of Sarah. We'll be looking at the fathers of faith to better understand faith. And this week we should be looking at Isaac and Jacob. So I hope that you all will tune in for that Bible study. I think it'll truly be a blessing. And Rachel says that she may open her eyes to Bleach when she catches up on One Piece in a few years. That's a good one. You got me with that. It was good. Yeah, one day I will do Fire Force. I'm still reading it, but once I finish it, then I'll do Fire Force for sure. Definitely. Just a couple other things to go over before you guys go. Definitely be tuned in this weekend as I will be officially posting my Christian anime journals on Amazon for you all to be able to purchase. And your support going to that will truly be a blessing, as if this will support this platform and what I'm looking to do here. Not only that, that will also allow for you guys to have something that you can, let's say, use in church to take your notes, use in school to take notes, use at home when you need to write out what it is that you're thinking. You can use it as a prayer journal. Those are all the purposes of why I'm designing these journals. In the future, I will be working on either shifting to Demon Slayer designs or the big 3. I'll be designing one of the 2. That's kind of something that I've been working on there, guys. So be tuned in for what is to come with that. I think that'll be really, really amazing. And the last thing I want to let you guys know, and then I'll let it go, is that let you guys go, is that if you were to go to my Cash App, and make donations here. Now, one thing I specifically do in regards to my Cash App is that if you make a donation to me on my Cash App and you request that I go get a specific manga or comic book, then I will go get that comic book if it's appropriate, and I will go live here on TikTok as I go to get that series. That way you guys can be with me on that journey. And not only that, if we go get the book that was requested, see if it's there, or we'll go to other bookstores, and I will definitely be shouting out whoever contributed to that trip. I will be posting today the very first journey that we went to at Barnes & Noble to get a series, Evangelion, which Derek Miller donated for. He donated for me to get these books, so I went and got Neon Genesis Evangelion. Not only will I be able to read it, but I'll probably even be able to do a full Christian perspective review on the series because of that donation. So I just wanted to let you guys know that you can give there. Thank you guys so very much, and I pray that you all have a blessed and wonderful day. See you guys later on this week, and peace. Well, bye, Ted.